It is Tuesday, April 26th in the NBA, and I'm back with my two best picks of the day. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot. Ladies and gentlemen, get those brooms out, not for our picks, but for the Brooklyn Nets as they get swept in the first round. I know, all the Nets fans, they're going down below, they're angry, they're hitting the dislike button. It doesn't matter. A recap of our actual picks, a 1-in-1 day. We lose Tobias Harris on the hook. He ends with 7 rebounds. We needed 8. Not much you can do out of that. I saw a tip rebound that didn't count for him. Obviously, Gobert does go under, so a 1-in-1 day. Our leans, naturally, of course, they go 3-0, so we always do a couple leans at the end of the video. They don't count towards our record, but I know it'll give you guys a couple opinions. Maybe you took them, maybe you didn't. It doesn't matter. Either way, we're bouncing back into the winning column today. As a reminder, people, we bet the NBA playoffs. They're super tough. Lines are super sharp. Do not be betting a ton in the NBA playoffs. It's not worth it. These lines are super sharp. Like I said, don't force too many bets. Let's manage that bankroll and let's keep getting after it. If you are new to the Calling Our Shot channel, what are you doing? Go down below, hit that subscribe button. We certainly would appreciate it as we grind towards 32,000 subscribers. We appreciate you guys all for joining the community. Also hit that like button. Drop your best bet in the comments down below. Some of you people gave us some straight fire winners yesterday. Speaking of straight fire winners, we got straight fire picks on our weekly podcast later on today. So if you want to hear us answer some questions or ask him some questions, drop your questions down below. The podcast will be live on Wednesday morning. Either way, we have 3 games on Tuesday. We starting with the Hawks versus Heat. Then we got Timberwolves versus Grizzlies. Then we got Pelicans versus Suns. Wrapping it up. We're going to talk about some leans in a couple of those games after my 2 official picks. And like I said, we got 3 reminders. Number 1, we have those dimers.com/COS sportsbook sign-up bonuses for FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars, Unibet, you name it. Go use those links first, top of the description. Number 2, like I said earlier, you can download the podcast or these daily videos in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, whatever you get your podcast. Just Google or type in Calling Our Shot and you'll be able to find the daily videos there in case you're listening on the road. You don't want to listen on YouTube. And like I said, if you want to drop us a 5-star rating, we certainly would appreciate it. And like I said earlier, we have straight fire picks on our podcast tomorrow, so we're going to record it later tonight. Drop your questions down below you want us to ask him. And also a final reminder, final shout out to our COS All-Stars. Thank you guys all for supporting the channel. We can't do it without you guys. If you want to support us, click the link in the description, link in the pinned comment, or hit the join button on the channel. Our newest All-Star, Joel Johnson, thank you again for supporting the channel and all our COS All-Stars out there. Let's get to my favorite picks of the day. We're going to the Grizzlies Timberwolves game. Giving you one. D'Angelo Russell under 18.5 points, -120 on FanDuel. Now, before you ask me, 17.5. Perfectly fine. Honestly, a lot of books had it at 17.5. I saw a couple at 18.5. We know FanDuel gives us those alt lines, and I saw their value on the alt line for 18.5 for D'Angelo Russell. Wasn't much different than other books at 17.5. So naturally, I'll take the 18.5, but perfectly fine at 17.5. Now let's talk about D'Lo. He struggled in 3 of the 4 games so far this season. He scored, or in this series, 10, 11, 22, and 10 points. Now, it's no surprise when you look at his field goal attempts in those games. He's shot 11, 11, 21, and 12 field goal attempts in those games. I'll give you a guess. Which one did he hit the over? Yeah, it was the game he shot 21 times. So naturally, he's going to hit the over. The other games, he wasn't shooting as much. We look at that 21 field goal attempt game. That was a game Karl Anthony Towns shot 4 times, and Anthony Edwards shot 13. They combined for 17 field goal attempts. Sometimes both those guys shoot 17 times per game, so I don't see Mr. D'Lo getting a ton of volume today. Grizzlies have done a very good job guarding him with Dillon Brooks this series. I don't see that changing up too much in a Game 5. Look, with Anthony Edwards and Cat likely to get their own shots, I don't think he's necessarily going to be the guy that's going to be ball dominant tonight, guy that's going to be shooting it a ton. I think he'll be more of a playmaker tonight. Now, we'll look at sharper books. They really love this under 17.5 and 18.5 points. They actually have 17.5 points at -134, while it's like +100 on some other books, though. They're going to really like that 18.5 line if you can lock it in. Now, D'Lo, we took us over in Game 1, and he screwed us. He ruined us real good. But look, the Grizzlies obviously watched tape from the regular season. When they saw D'Angelo Russell having a great games against him, obviously watched some film and said, no, we're not getting beat by D'Angelo Russell. We'll make someone else do it. I don't see D'Lo going off, having a big game today. So, based on the Grizzlies defense, big game, biggest game of the series. I think they're going to step up and try to win this game pretty handily. And so, I think the Grizzlies defense will be there in full force. I'm taking D'Angelo Russell under 18.5 points. Perfectly fine at 17.5. Locked it in. Moving on to my next play. And no, it's not Jay Crowder's over in points. We're going Jimmy Butler under 26.5 points, -118 on FanDuel. Barstool also had this -118 line. Saw a lot of other books at 25.5. Perfectly fine with all of them. I like 26.5, obviously a little bit better, but 25.5, perfectly fine. I don't know if there's been many games that Jimmy Butler's ended with 26 points. He's only all or nothing. Now, I understand you can go down below and say, whatever. Jimmy Butler scored 36 and 45 points in this series against the Hawks. Yes, he has hit the over twice against the Hawks, and he's hit it in fashion, hitting 36 and 45 points. Likewise, he's gone under in 2 games with 20 and 21 points. I understand Kyle Lowry is not there today, but look, Jimmy Butler, I just don't see him as a 26, 27 point per game scorer, especially not in a must-win game for the Hawks. Backs against the wall. I don't see them letting him, Jimmy Butler, go to town against them once again. Now we look at the series. Jimmy Butler has with the over in 2 of the games, yet to go over in back-to-back games. That's a very common theme for Jimmy Butler. Some games he's super aggressive, some games he's more pass-happy. Now we look at it. Butler under in 19 of his last 25 playoff games. Look, I understand this line's 26.5 or 25.5 on your books, and so we might look at it. Sure, Kyle Lowry's not there, and all the players might have fluctuated during those 25 playoff games. Still, the stats are the stats. He's under 19 of his last 25. Now, he obviously had that terrific run in the bubble where he was the large majority of their offense. He was carrying the Heat to the NBA Finals, and he hit this over a couple times. The thing is, he never hit the over in back-to-back games, and he just hasn't done that in the playoffs. I don't see him doing it here today with 27 points. Now, we look at over the last 4 months. Butler played 38 games, never gone over in back-to-back games. So I don't see him going over back-to-back in this one. I expect more to see Tyler Herro a little bit more tonight. Now, we saw Tyler Tuesday. It is Tyler Tuesday for the people out there. That's normally when he shows up. And look, we saw Tyler Herro not play a lot of minutes in the last game. I anticipate he plays a lot of minutes today just because that's what Spoelstra's been doing. We'll talk about that in a second. But I don't see Jimmy, like I said, as a 27, 26 point per game scorer. He's very good. He's talented. One of the better players in the NBA. I just don't see him doing it tonight with the Hawks having all eyes on him, giving him the Kevin Durant treatment, hopefully. And I see Mr. Jimmy Butler probably finishing in the low 20s, 27, asking for a lot. Give me Jimmy Butler under 26.5 points. Now let's talk about some leans. I'll bring up Tyler Herro immediately. Now, Tyler Herro over in points. Last game was 19.5. A lot of people that took that over, no. He get even near that number. And I imagine some people are going to be angry. They want to bet his under today. But we've seen Spoelstra play weird lineups this series. So we've seen him go play one guy 40 minutes one game, then 0, then 40, then 0. It makes no sense. We saw that with Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson scored like 27 points in game 1. Then he got like 6 minutes in game 2. So I think Tyler Herro, it's Tyler Tuesday. He didn't play a lot in game 4. I bet you he plays a lot in game 5, and that's a pretty good game, maybe 20-ish points for Mr. Tyler Herro. Maybe his line goes down pretty hard. We'll see exactly what happens. Look, Spoelstra's been very unpredictable, but if you can predict his unpredictableness, then you might be good. So I like Tyler Herro's over in points, although don't take it if the line's a stupid line. But I think if you get it maybe at 16.5, 17.5, maybe even lower, I think it's a pretty good bet. Now, Brandon Ingram, under 27.5 points. Look, I understand the Suns. This is a big game, obviously. Another game 5, tied 2-2. And we've seen Ingram have absolutely great games, 30-plus points in 3 straight games versus the Suns team. I think he gets the Kevin Durant treatment that the Celtics were giving to him. And look, I'd wait till game time if you're going to lock this in. It is a sketchy one. We're betting against a star player like we kind of did against Jimmy Butler. But there's a lot of value in betting the stars unders. I don't know how often we see a player hit their over in points 4 straight games in the postseason, which is what Ingram would have to do tonight. 28 points, asking for a ton of points. I don't see Brandon Ingram doing it tonight. I think the Suns control this game. It's a low over-under at like 215.5. I don't see Brandon Ingram getting 28 points. He could get that many points, but I don't see it happening today. I'd lean his under 27.5. 26.5, same thing for that one. Now let's talk about another guy, Trae Young, under 37.5 PRAs. Sorry, Ice Trae. I should have worn my Ice Trae shirt, but this could be your final game of the season. I think the Heat do close this out at home, and we saw Trae Young talk about it in the post-game press conference. He even said it. He said he hasn't been defended like this since high school, and we've seen the Heat basically say, you know what, DeAndre Hunter, go beat us. Bogdanovich, go beat us. Kevin Herter, go beat us. We're not letting Trae Young beat us in this series, and I don't see Trae Young. I know he's probably gone under. I don't know if he's gone under in all the games, but at least 3 of 4 games. And look, I just don't see him getting it done today. Now, I know he's obviously a big game. You can point to maybe like a guy like Kevin Durant yesterday. Finally hit his over in points. He was shooting it a ton. The Heat just haven't been letting him shoot it that much. I've been double teaming him, making him pass up the ball. It is a sketchier one, given that could be his final game of the season. We could see him play close to 45 minutes today. So I don't necessarily know if it's my most confident lean. I'm obviously not putting any money on it because it's just a lean. But I do like Trae Young's under in PRAs. Likely maybe lean his under in assists if I'm going to pick an individual stat, solely because he could be shooting a lot more than passing the ball today. And it's tough to get a bunch of assists versus Heat team. And now if you wanted my spread or player prop or spread or over under pick, I don't honestly like the spreads today. We got a lot of 6-7 point favorites. I don't really like taking that in the playoffs. I do anticipate some teams win. If I had to pick winners, I'd pick the Suns. I think the Suns bounce back. I'd pick the Heat to win. And then the last game, I'd pick the Grizzlies. So I'd pick all the favorites to win, not going out on a limb there. But I like the Timberwolves Grizzlies under 233.5 points. We've seen them kind of go over than under in this series. I think they went over in game 1, under in games 2 and 3, over in game 4. I don't see them going over here. This is a big game 5. I don't see either team rushing too much. We've seen a ton of fouls. The games they go over, it's because they're foul. They got like 90 free throw attempts. Now, that's an exaggeration, but legitimately, I think the Grizzlies shot 40 free throw attempts last game. I don't see they're shooting them that many. I know the refs obviously have been a little bit unpredictable in this playoff so far, but I think this is a lot of points for two teams that can show and play better on the defensive side. It's just whether or not they want to show up. Last game, I think they combined for, 237 points, so not necessarily killing this over. So I think the under's a pretty good one in this one. It's such my lean. If I had to lean a spread, I'd take the Grizzlies, but I don't really want to bet any spreads today. Don't really like any of those lines. So those are my leans. Obviously, my two official picks. We're going with Mr. Jimmy Butler under 26.5 points and D'Angelo Russell under 18.5 points. Sorry for the unders, but those are the picks I'm going with. Let me know your best bets down below. Let me know those questions for Steve from Straight Fire Picks, and then use those sign-up links for sportsbooks. We appreciate you guys. As always, this has been Tuesday in the NBA. We'll be back again on Wednesday morning. Let's get after it. See you guys then. Peace.